Before we take a look at the changes that are needed for the Index.php file, let's look at some resources from Joomla.org. Three that I've outlined here: migrating a template from Joomla 1.5 to 3.x, creating a basic template, and for those of you out there wanting to do even fancier things, adding JavaScript and CSS to the page. There's an article about that. So starting from the top, we'll go look at migrating a template from Joomla 1.5 to 3.x. So this document outlines and reviews the changes that we just made to the XML file. It gives you those snippets. So once you're done watching this video, bookmark this page and you'll have the access to that snippet that you need, and goes through the things that you just saw demonstrated, simplifying the folder tags. Here's the section about parameters. I didn't need this for my simple template for the buddy walk because I didn't implement any parameters, but parameters are the things that we can change in the style column of the template manager if your template allows you to choose different color variations or different background values or different Google fonts or different layouts. Some templates have lots of parameters. In Joomla 1.5, those were set up in a parameters.ini file. In Joomla 2.5 and beyond, that's done within a config section of your template details XML file. So here's how that would be set up. The field name is params, the field set name is advanced, could be basic. You know how in the back end of things we sometimes have some basic options and then more advanced options. You could set up a field set for basic options for your template and then have another field set for the advanced ones. Your color variation was the parameters ini file, and now what we're doing is labeling that out just as a field within a field set, within fields, within config. So important structure for implementing any of those parameters. And again, if you had a parameters.ini file in your existing Joomla 1.5 template, you'd be sort of mapping that and interpreting that into here. Here we see label equals such and such, description equals such and such in all capital letters. That is referencing a language file so that it could be translated to other languages. Again, if you're doing a custom template for your client, you're probably not needing to worry about translations. And if you're doing this to be a template to be used by lots and lots of different people all over the world, you know what you're doing. Or you're starting with a Joomla 3 template to work from. And now we're ready to take a look at the Index.php file and what are the changes that are needed to be made there. So again, it depends on how involved your Joomla 1.5 template was to begin with. Mine was a demonstration template and is very bare bones. So these guidelines will be useful. The first line doesn't change at all, the Doctype changes and so on. Nice thing about this document, go back up to the top, is that there's a summary section where each line by line, if you have this in your old template, you'll replace it with that. If you had code to access the Joomla framework, now it can be accessed this way. And where there are no changes involved, then it's indicated. So this can be kind of your old to new lookup dictionary of code snippets that you need. And the main one that we're going to have to do to my very simple template is change the doc type. So I'm going to just grab that bit of code and copy that and go open up the index.php file. This is the index.php file from the Joomla 1.5 template, and I'm going to make the change to the doc type, an HTML block. I'll open up and paste in the new that I got from the Migrating a Template page on Joomla Docs. Pasted that in, and it's replacing this version. So the doc type has changed, the HTML element actually stays the same. It still includes code that will recognize if your site is working with a different language other than English, or with a language that uses right to left instead of left to right. It picks up the direction. So we have our new Doctype, and this is our Index.php file. Now, there's lots of other functionality referenced in that migrating a template from 1.5 to 3. Lots of other ways that you could tap into the Joomla framework. One of them would be if you were wanting to use Bootstrap. So let's go back to that page, and we'll scroll down. Again, these are all things that you might be wanting to include as part of that opening PHP block. The PHP defined is a place where you can put other pieces of PHP code. One of those pieces that you might want would be to call in the framework and for Bootstrap and the Bootstrap CSS. So if we grab this, notice that that already includes the PHP JExec and the restricted access part of things. We have that in our code already, so we're going to not paste this in, but actually replace this block. Other functionality could be added in here to do other things with PHP. We're keeping things simple for this video on migration. Not really a full-blown video on making complicated templates, but that would be one other thing that you could do. So I'm just going to save that. We've saved our index.php. We've saved our revised template details.xml. We got rid of the HTML folder. If you remember, we wanted to create a couple new thumbnail images. Not absolutely required, but we declared in our template details XML that we were going to do it, so we best do that.